Joining me right now, Kevin Hincks, co-host of Fast Market, live at the CBOE. Good morning to you, Kevin. And so we got in the PPI now. Some of your thoughts this morning.
Producer price index data coming out this morning, much better than expected, much lower. Here's the headline, unchanged on the month-over-month headline PPI. That is 1/10 lower than last month and 2/10 lower than the consensus. The year-over-year, 2.3%. That is 3/10 lower than last month and 2/10 lower than expectations. The core, again, unchanged month-over-month. That's 2/10 lower than expected. The core year-over-year, 2.6%, Nicole. That's 4/10 lower than last month. Ex-food and energy trade services also unchanged, and that year-over-year, 2.5% down from 2.7%. Good numbers across the board. The futures rallied on the PPI data. Here's some of the breakdowns. If you look at in the goods area, the product detail indexes for gasoline, electric power, canned, cooked, smoked or prepared poultry, meats, and tree nuts all moved higher. In contrast, listen to this, Nicole. Price for chicken eggs dropped 21.8%. So big drop in egg prices affecting PPI. Then final demand services. There's another interesting point. For the details there, traveler accommodation services, probably something to do with the travel service, down 4.1%. So there are parts of this economy that prices are dropping, significantly, especially the high profile price of eggs that was such a interesting topic over the last several months, dropping completely. So all things considered, this is giving the markets a signal that maybe some of the price hikes that Jerome Powell talked about are temporary and not following through. And what's coming through the producer pipeline is not, prices are not going up. Matter of fact, some of them are coming down quite significantly here. So I think overall, this is a relief number for the markets after yesterday's firm CPI data. I think the markets like it so far today.
Yeah, I mean, so far, so good. Look at how the market has turned. I mean, we had been sort of back and forth action, saw some red on the screen, and now really a clear path in the green. I mean, we've gotten some earnings as well as earnings season continues. But first, just, the Fed, how do we interpret some of the latest data? Where do we stand for the July meeting and the meetings that follow?
Yeah, the CME Fed Watch tool is probably yesterday at the end of the day, I know it was 52% for the September meeting. Now, remember, the July meeting is 0, Nicole. There is no chance the Fed's going to move on the July meeting. When we hit up, it'll probably move a little bit better as we look into these numbers because of some of the data that we got out today. When I look at the Thinkorswim platform, 10-year yield down 4.46, right? So yields are lower, the dollar is slightly higher, and again, crude oil, such a key part of yesterday's CPI data, is down another 0.9%. So there's a lot of good things happening on inflation. I still believe that the July 29th and 30th Fed meeting that is coming up on the horizon, they are not going to move on rates. There's basically almost a 0 probability, which we never talk about, chance on moving on rates. However, how they guide towards that September meeting, remember there's no August meeting, so the September meeting, if they begin to guide for a rate cut there, then the market is going to embrace that, and that could lead for a nice late summer or second half of the year rally, Nicole. But right now, as we look at it, the market liking the PPI data, nice rally. Now, it's not up significantly. The E-minis are up about 0.6%, 0.17, and the NASDAQ is basically unchanged. So as we move into earnings season, the market is, firm, I would call it at best. Still not firing higher, but it certainly went from the red to the green this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Exciting, kicking off earnings season in this way. I mean, thus far, we've seen mostly good news, but even with the banks and some of them beating, we still saw some red arrows. I mean, Tom White was making the point, you got to really knock it out of the park sometimes to get some up arrows. That being said, we do have more on the tariffs and the very latest there. We've had some developments over the last 24 hours. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the CME Fed rate tool went to a 56% chance for the September meeting. It wasn't updating, so I wanted to make sure we had the right number. Tariffs. Now that's different, right? Nvidia really took the headlines yesterday when it looks like that some of the restrictions that the U.S. put on Nvidia and chips was more of a negotiating tool to use them to get that rare earth metals and magnets and things from China. So those negotiations, remember, Jensen Huang is in China right now talking about selling more chips to China and competitiveness and things like that. And he's really complimenting the infrastructure and going on right now in China and firms like Alibaba and Huawei and how they are world-class users of chips. So that is a big number of chips that Jensen Huang is going to be able to sell to China if and when that opens up. And that's why I think you saw Nvidia's stock move higher yesterday. Despite a soft market, that stock was strong. Now, tariffs, there's more negotiations going on. I know the EU is coming to Washington this week. I think that's a big negotiation there as we get closer. Remember, everything is leading up to that August 1st deadline. And I think you're going to see a lot of countries like the EU is today coming to Washington to negotiate. We'll see when those headlines emerge, Nicole.
So in the meantime here, as we set up here, anything else that's on your mind? I mean, I know we have Netflix this week also. That'll be a goodie. Anything else you want to add?
The general theme going into this earnings season, and you're seeing it in the banks, is they have all rallied so much. Just look at the chart on Netflix and the percentage that it's rallied this year. The bar is incredibly high for a lot of these stocks, especially large cap tech, which is coming on the horizon at the end of the month. Now, we're going to get United Airlines at the end of the day. That's the opposite, right? The airlines were pretty beat up. They rallied on the Delta Airlines news. We'll see if United Airlines can keep that momentum going. But the theme for this earnings season, a high bar and big percentage gains on these stocks. And they're going to have to not just beat earnings, they're going to have to crush them to keep their stocks at these levels, Nicole.
All right, Kevin Hincks, thank you so much. Great to see you. Appreciate it.